Hello and welcome. My name is Ryan. I'll be guiding you through class today. As always, this video is for entertainment purposes only, and if you wish to follow along, I expect you to honor and respect your body and listen to what it's saying, doing only what feels good, and skipping anything that feels uncomfortable. Let's begin. If you haven't already, find yourself seated or lying in a comfortable position. Stack the spine tall, gently reaching the crown of the head up towards the ceiling or lengthening out long on the mat. Start to notice the sounds outside of the room. Let them pass. Maybe start to notice the sounds inside the room or in your space. And maybe notice any sounds that might be coming from within. Don't attach any judgment to these. Just let them pass. Start to notice the breath as it enters and leaves the body. Notice any spaces where the body overlaps here. Feel the clothing on your skin and the warmth that it may provide. Without changing your breath, start to notice what spaces of the body it fills. On your next exhale, see if you can slightly pull the belly button in and up towards your spine, creating a little engagement through the core. And on your inhale, feel the ribcage expand in all four directions. Breathe naturally here and see if you can keep this expansion. You can gently tuck the chin a little bit down and back to continue to lengthen through the spine. See if you can soften any muscles that aren't needed here in this space. Relax the muscles around the eyes. Relax the muscles around the face. And notice here, if at any point your mind begins to wander, just bring it back to the breath and the present moment, and let the thoughts pass. Finding yourself as a neutral observer as we take our body through movement, not to find judgment against yourself or what we may be feeling in the moment. And open your mat space for exploring, just seeing how we feel today. And again, honoring and respecting the body doing only what's comfortable. If you wish to dedicate your practice to someone or something, or if you want a particular mantra for today's practice, you can take your hands to heart center. Inhale, I am loved. Exhale, I am safe. Inhale, I am joy. Exhale, I am in peace. Seal that mantra in with a full deep breath. And if you're not already there, find your way into a lying position on your mat with your block handy. Lying down on your back body, extend your legs out long towards the front of the room. Start to lift and spread your toes up towards the ceiling. Feel strength from your hips down to your heels and back up towards your hips. Start to draw your belly button in and up towards the spine. Expand through the rib cage on your inhale. And once more, tuck your chin down towards the floor, lengthening through the spine. Lift and spread your fingertips wide. And on your next inhale, extend the hands up towards the ceiling and overhead towards the floor back behind you. And exhale, lower the arms back down by your side. Try to keep the arms engaged and see that you don't collapse or lift through the rib cage as you extend the hands up towards the floor. Try to counter that rounding of the spine by bracing the front body and engaging through the core. And continue to move like this with your breath. Inhale, hands overhead. Exhale, lower the arms back down. See that you haven't lost the engagement in the core or lost the engagement in the legs. And next time your hands reach overhead towards the floor, pause here. Just for a few breaths. Seeing what this space feels like now in stillness. And on your next exhale, return the arms back down by your sides. Bend the knees, placing the feet on your mat just beneath the glutes, about hip-width distance apart. Start to walk your feet out to the outside edges of your mat. Take your arms out to a T position, grounding into the floor. And on your exhale, lower the legs down to one side. Inhale, return the legs back up to center. Exhale, follow through to the other side. Start to notice what this movement feels like in your body. Maybe taking the gaze in the opposite direction as the legs lower down. Maybe pressing a little stronger down into the heel of that top leg to engage through the glutes and extend a little deeper through the front of the hip. Keep moving like this with your breath. And next time you come back to center with the knees, pause. Bring your arms back down by your sides. And start to hover your knees up towards the ceiling. Keeping your feet facing the front of the room out in front of you. From here, we'll move into dead bugs, where we take the opposite hand and leg out towards the far sides of the room. So we'll extend through the right heel, pressing the leg forward towards the front of the room as we lift the left hand up overhead. Come back to center, hover the knees over the hips. And same thing on the left leg, reaching the right hand up overhead as well. See that we haven't lost the engagement through the legs, still lifting and spreading through the toes. Keeping that brace in the front of the body to keep the spine in a nice neutral position. A few more times with the breath here. Once that feels even from side to side, we'll pause and bring the legs or the feet back down to the mat beneath you. Press the elbows down into the floor by your side. Keep the hands facing up towards the ceiling. And on your next inhale, press the feet down into the floor, lifting the hips up towards the ceiling. Exhale, lower the hips back down to the mat, but not to stay. Inhale, lift right back up into our bridge position here. See that you can still lift and spread the toes in this position. And almost as if we're dragging the heels back in towards the glutes, closer to the body. Feel that engagement in the glutes, the hamstrings, strong through the legs. And also notice here that we're not letting the knees collapse in towards touching or flare out towards the outsides of the room. Next time you bring the hips up towards the ceiling, pause here. Noticing any felt sensation in the body. And when effort starts to become struggle, or we feel any discomfort, of course, we can lower the hips back down to the floor. Any little wiggles you might need here. Relax the arms down towards the floor. And on your next inhale, hover the right knee over the hips, leave the left foot grounded into the floor. On the inhale, again here, extend the knee. So we're going to try to straighten the leg, pointing the feet, or the right foot rather, up towards the ceiling. Exhale, bend the knee. Continue to bend and straighten the knee here, feeling that stretch down the backside of the right leg. And notice here that you can maintain that neutral position in the low back. And next time you exhale, lower the right leg to the floor. Inhale, reach the left knee up above the left hip. Hug the hands around the back of the knee or back of the leg. And inhale, extend at the knee, kick the heel up towards the ceiling on the left side now. Exhale, bend at the knee. Continue to move like this with your breath, noticing any difference from the first side to this side. Once that feels even, lower the left foot down to the floor. This time, extend the left leg out long, bend through the right knee, reach the knee up towards the ceiling above the hip, hug the hands around the back of the leg. We've been here before, again straightening and extending through the knee. This time with the left leg out long, notice any different felt sensation through the body. Next time you extend the right knee, pause here. Grounding down into the hips, into the shoulders. Again, see that that low back is still in a neutral position. And next exhale, bend the right knee, place the foot back to the floor. Switching sides, extend your right leg out long, bend your left knee, bring the knee over the hips, hug the hands around this left leg, and start to straighten and bend the left knee here. Again, noticing the difference of stretching sensation with the right leg out long. On your next inhale, as you straighten the leg up towards the ceiling, pause here. Come back to the breath. And exhale, bend the left leg. Lowering the feet down to the floor. Extend the legs out long and roll over onto your left side body. Bend both knees, bringing them up about hip height. Now on our left side, you can support the head if you need to. Bring the arms out long in front of you. Keep the left arm and hand grounded down into the mat and start to inhale the right hand up towards the ceiling, over towards the back of the room behind you. Exhale, close the hand back down to meet the other. Continue to move like this with your breath. And to give you options here, you can continue to open the hands, open the arms, like turning the pages of a book. Or if you want a different variation, you can always see if the hand can follow along the floor up over the head and back towards the back wall. Choosing whichever one feels good for you today. Next time you open the arm out long, pause here, feeling that deep stretch, that deep rotation through the upper spine. Noticing where the breath moves in this rotated position. Next time you exhale, bring the hand back down to the left hand to meet the floor. And take your time, roll over to the right side body, finding that same sweeping twist. Bring the knees out in front of you. Relax the head to a prop or down to the floor. Keep the right arm and hand grounded into the floor. And same thing here. Start to open the left hand, left arm opens towards the ceiling, back towards the back of the room behind you. Feeling that twist in the upper body. Noticing any differences from the first side to this side. And again, maybe you took that sweeping twist up overhead on the last tabletop position. So find yourself in this tabletop position with the hands directly beneath the shoulders, knees directly beneath the hips. You can untuck the toes, press the tops of the feet down into the floor. Spread the fingertips wide. We're going to start to move through the upper back here into what's known as a cat-cow position. So on your exhale, tuck the chin down towards the chest. Lift and spread the shoulder blades wide as you press the upper back up towards the ceiling. And inhale, flatten out the back, pull the shoulders behind you, almost as if you're going to squeeze the shoulder blades to touch. Take the gaze a little bit up towards the top edge of your mat. Continue to move like that with your breath, grounding the hands down into the mat. And picture this movement up in the upper spine more so than anything. And next time you exhale and tuck the chin, lifting through the shoulders, start to press the hands into the mat, lowering the hips back and down towards your heels, not to stay. And inhale, round back up, pull the shoulder blades behind you. Good. Now seeing what this movement feels like with our added child's pose here. Continue to move with the breath. And next time you press the hips back towards the heels, pause here. Maybe lengthen the hands out a little bit further. Maybe roll out the wrist. Again, always checking in, see what the body needs. Just breathe here. And on your next inhale, start to round the body back up to our tabletop position. Ground down through the hands, nice neutral spine. Tuck the toes underneath you. You can inhale, hover the knees. Exhale, press the hips up and back towards the ceiling. You can keep the knees softly bent here, protecting the low back, pressing the chest down towards the floor, closer towards the knees. Keep the arms stretched out long, grounding down into the hands. Maybe shaking the head out. Relax the neck. And gently start to walk your feet up to meet your hands, or your hands back to meet your feet. Bend deep as you need through the knees here to protect the spine. Reach the hands for the floor as we start to move into some mini sun salutations. Sit the hips down and back as you reach the hands overhead for chair pose. Weight in the heels. Exhale, reach the hands up towards the ceiling as you stand up tall. Reach the hands around to heart center. Inhale, reach the hands up tall towards the ceiling. Exhale, hinge at the hips, soft bend in the knees as you swan dive forward. Reach the hands for the floor in front of you. Inhale, bend the knees, sit the hips down and back, weight in the heels, hands reach up overhead, chair pose. Exhale, stand up, hands come around to heart center. Inhale, reach the hands up tall, hinge at the hips, swan dive forward, deep forward fold. Reach the hands for the floor. Last one here, chair pose, sit the hips down and back. Exhale, stand up tall. Inhale, hands up overhead. Exhale, hinge at the hips, swan dive forward, deep forward fold. Ground down through the hands, bend the knees if you need to. Start to walk the feet back towards the back of the mat for another downward dog here. You can heel toe or start to pedal out the heels. Bending and straightening the knees. Once that feels complete, hover the knees back down to our tabletop position. Take the knees out wide towards the outside edges of your mat. We'll bring the hips down towards the heels for a wide child's pose. Extend the hands out towards the front of the room. Breathe deep here. And on your next inhale, slightly lift the chest and the head and start to walk your hands over to one side of the mat to add in a little lateral bend through the spine here. Try to ground down through that left shoulder. Maybe soften a little bit through the right shoulder. Notice if the hips wanted to move in this. Breathe through the side body. And on your next inhale, lift up the torso again. Start to walk the hands over to the other side of the mat. And again, ground down. Noticing that side body stretch on this side. And on your next inhale, walk the hands back out to the center of the mat out in front of you. Slowly come back up to our tabletop position. And we'll switch our foundation again here in any way that's most comfortable for you. Come back to your back body, lying long stretched out on our mat. Taking a little mini compensation here, reach the hands overhead, maybe a little wiggle at the hips, alternating, reaching heels towards the front of the room. Good, we'll come into our supported bridge next. So grab the block if you still have it handy. We'll bring the feet to the mat, bending the knees, lift the hips up towards the ceiling, and place the block in whichever way feels most comfortable for you, right underneath the sits bones. So picture not the low back, but as low as we can get. And ground down through the feet. And a couple different variations. Listen to the body here, see what feels good, leave what doesn't. You can straighten your left leg out long, keeping the right foot planted flat into the floor. Notice the stretching sensation through the front of the hip. If you want a deeper variation, you can bring your left foot right behind your right, bend the knee and let the knee hang forward and a little bit off to the left. And switch sides, bring your left foot back to the floor, bend the knee, straighten the right leg out long, or bend the knee, bringing the right foot behind the left foot, and let the knee hang heavy, falling forward and off to the right. Whichever variation you might have done on the first side, or whichever one feels best for you in this moment. And slowly come back out. Bring the feet to the mat. Lift the hips, remove the block. Lower the body back down. Stretch the legs out long. From here, we'll come into our full body stretch. So lengthen out through the legs, reach the arms up overhead. And start to walk your feet over towards the right side of your mat. And lift and reach the upper body gently over to the right side as well, coming into a half moon shape here. You're welcome to take a bind with the feet if you'd like to cross the left foot over the right. Feel that opening of the entire left side body. Try to let that left shoulder relax down towards the floor. Slowly undo the bind if you took it here. Bring the body back to center. And start to walk the feet over to the left side of the mat. Same thing on the other side. Bring the upper body a little bit off to the left. Reach the hands up overhead. Take that same bind in the legs if you'd like. Almost as if your left hand is pulling the right hand up and over the body and grounding down through the right shoulder. Breathe into the stretch. And once that feels even from side to side, slowly return the body back to center. You can bend the knees, hug the knees up in towards the chest. You can bring the hands around the knees or just hold on to the thighs here and do what feels good in your practice. You can rock from side to side, forward and back, maybe circles with the knees to massage the low back into the mat. Then lengthen the legs out long, thanking yourself for coming to this practice today. Let the feet spread out wide. Let the feet fall open to the outsides of the room. Let the hands fall heavy down into the floor. Shoulders roll down and back. Nice neutral spine here for Shavasana. Taking just one moment here to celebrate you, to celebrate your practice, for showing up to your mat today, and most of all, listening to your body. And in any way that's comfortable for you, start to make your way back up to a seated foundation. Hug your hands to heart center. The light in me bows and honor that same light in you. Namaste. Thank you.